also?
I have. I've done in-school residencies and after-school residencies. The main thing I do, though, is I teach the Academy and Conservatory classes, which are our theme classes and our intensive acting program on Saturdays. And I do a program called Drama Frames, which is where the student, my student, is the teacher. So I'm teaching classroom teachers how to integrate drama techniques into their curriculum. It's really, really cool. Yeah, so I worked in a couple classrooms last school year and then this most recent school year, working with an entire team of third grade teachers and teaching different drama techniques like pantomime and group story building and improv skills.
And how does that work in the classroom with other curriculum items?
It actually dovetails really nicely, I found. It really fits very naturally into reading comprehension and language acquisition. And a lot of the classrooms we work in are ELL classrooms, so focusing on a vocab word and reading a story and doing a drama that illustrates it can help with language acquisition. Obviously, acting out a story to help with either sequencing or story comprehension is amazingly helpful. But I've even used it to supplement science curriculum, like teaching a drama game to help them remember science words or concepts. And I've even done it, there's a drama game specifically that works really well with math, like we're teaching fractions. So it goes wherever you need it to go. Well, you actually might know this game. It's called Captain on Deck. We play it. It is so malleable as a concept, and it can be reshaped to be about math. So in Captain on Deck, there's two sides of the room, and they're the different parts of a ship. Well, in Fraction on Deck, which is what I decided it's called, you have the numerator, they go to one side of the room, the one furthest away from me, and denominator, since the bottom of the fraction is closest to me, and then I'll call out different fractions, and they need to make groupings of the bottom number with the top number, the number of kids standing. So if I say 1/4, they need a group of 4 with 1 kid standing and 3 sitting. You know, 2/3, group of 3, 2 kids standing. And then, what did I do once? I think I did one where they had to flip the fraction, meaning the opposite kids would stand and sit. Like, it was actually really cool, and the kids liked it. But I remember we did a game about conservation concepts, and it was pretty much the game Boppity Bop Bop Bop, which you might also have played, where a caller stands in the middle and calls things out to the circle, and they have to make different shapes with their bodies. Most of them are cooperative shapes, but we used it to illustrate different concepts in conservation. Like one of them had to be wind power, and they had to create a wind turbine with 3 people's bodies. One of them was the center, and like 2 of them were the arms. And then there was one where they were supposed to be like biofuel. There was one that was water power, so they had to create like a dam with water rushing over it, and it just kind of helped them associate like the concept words with what it actually means. They do, they love it. I mean, I think for one thing, they love any chance to not be sitting at a desk. So any opportunity you can give them to move their bodies, they appreciate it, and they're having fun. And I think most of us learn better when we're enjoying ourselves. I think also there's something to be said for getting a concept in your body instead of just keeping it in your brain, so that you know it everywhere and you're not just spitting information out. So I think it actually, associating movement with information is more helpful. It's like when you're in a play and until it's blocked, you have trouble memorizing your lines. Linking your body and your brain really helps. So this summer at Child's Play, we do our summer academy. It's 8 or 9 weeks long. It's smushy between all of the school ending and starting up again, and we do weeks, theme weeks of drama summer camps. So the topics vary across the summer. This week we're doing Hogwarts. We have 4 classrooms of kids who are receiving an immersive Hogwarts experience where they're learning foundational drama skills, like how to use their voices and their bodies and their imaginations to tell stories and create characters. And they're also kind of getting a little taste of what it would be like to actually be students at Hogwarts, which is kind of exciting. So we are not just their teaching artists, we are their professors. We're teaching them Hogwarts subjects like Transfiguration and Defense Against the Dark Arts and potions and charms. They're making their own wands, and we're not just retelling Harry Potter stories, which I think is what makes it cool and unique. We're not retelling the same stories. We're making our own that live in that world, which is what we try to do throughout the summer with any theme that we attach to. We're not necessarily retelling stories. We are becoming the stories and giving them a new... I feel like this is fan fiction, really, the Harry Potter camps. It's like, what if I were in the story? Well, if I were in the story, I would be in this house, and our founder would have been this guy, and our house beast would be a grizzly bear. And next week I am teaching a Roald Dahl-inspired camp, where we are going to play around with Roald Dahl's stories and his use of language, which is really interesting, and his characters, who are also kind of out there and very unique for a children's author. So we'll play with those themes and those kinds of stories and tell our own. Yeah, it should be fun. Roald Dahl is a very specific use of language in his writing, which I think reminds me of a camp I did a couple years ago that was based on Shel Silverstein. And we had a lot of fun digging into his poetry and the kinds of things he would write poems about, which is very unique for a children's author. Right, yeah, their experience is not, unicorns and butterflies and puppies only, and their imaginations definitely aren't full of those things, even if their lives have been relatively easy. They're imagining all of these things. So yeah, I think Roald Dahl and Shel Silverstein are both children's authors who understood that and knew that that's what kids want to be reading about. Just very cool. Child's Play is definitely an amazing place to work. Not only is it super supportive, everyone here is so enthusiastic and committed to young people being treated respectfully and being given interesting things to test their abilities. But it's so much fun. Working with kids is so much fun, and every single day is different when you come here. You kind of have to meet the kids wherever they are at each moment and be super flexible and willing to dig deeper into something on a moment's notice if the kids are loving it, and abandon it with the same amount of speed if it's not working. It's really, really challenging, but it's fun, and everyone who works here is absolutely amazing. I am currently working on a show called The Pledge over at Brelby. It's an original script. It's being done for the very first time, written by Megan O'Connor, who is an amazing, amazing playwright. And I first participated in a little reading we did for Megan when she was working on the script a while back. And so I was part of this reading we did for Megan, and the script is so awesome that when they had the open auditions for it, I knew that I had to go because I wanted to be a part of it. And the script has evolved and sort of shifted a little bit as she's worked on it, and it's gotten better and better each time. It's so cool. Okay, it is about magic. It's about relationships. It's about baking. Gosh, what's the best way to synopsize it? So it's about a woman who falls in love with a magician, and as their relationship progresses, things change, and he tries to cut her out of his act. She's his assistant and his wife, and she decides to take things into her own hand and sort of go off on her own and prove that she can do it on her own. And it's got tons of twists and turns and lots of magic tricks in it, and it is fascinating. Yeah. Brian has so much energy. It's kind of ridiculous. He has a full-time job. He runs this theater with his wife, and then he is here every night with ridiculous amounts of energy to direct us. He is a very quick thinker. He is watching and making notes and adjusting things as he sees it happening. He knows where he wants the scene to go, but when he sees you doing it, he can adjust on the spot if he sees something that'll work better. He is super creative. He encourages us to try things. His advice is always go bigger, go bigger, go bigger, and I'll tell you when it's too big. And it rarely is too big. So it's a lot of fun. He's also really supportive, though. I mean, he's He's created an environment where we're all having fun, but we also feel very connected to each other and safe trying things with each other and in front of him. Like, you never feel judged for making a choice that doesn't work. You feel supported and kind of excited to try something else and see what's going to work. I am the magician's wife. Her name is Dani. She is a pastry chef who meets her husband, and it's like love at the very first moment, and becomes his assistant, learns all of this magic after she meets him. She's not involved at all before they meet, but continues to work at the bakery and work with him on the magic act. And then as things fall apart, she is not just going to sit there and let it happen. She decides to take action, hires her own assistant, and goes off on her own.